What's going on, people? We are Tottenham TV, back here for our predicted lineup video for the game against Burnley at Turf Moor tomorrow. I mean, it's mad to like preview and do the predicted lineup for all these games, all these madness of transfer deadline day going on around us. But we are here for the predicted lineup, and Andrew's been speaking in his press conference. And what is the team news?
Yeah, Giovanni Lo Celso actually went off at half-time due to a bit of a thigh strain, apparently, so he is ruled out for the weekend. Other than that, there's no other additional team news. So Brian Hill, Ryan Sessegnon and Rodrigo Bentancur remain unavailable, but no new injuries, so that's positive.
Yeah, and it was a concern that Mickey van der Ven was hobbling towards the end of that Fulham game, and I thought, you know, it could be more to it, but it doesn't seem the case. So happy days. But let's get into the predicted lineup. In goal is obviously going to be Venom.
Yeah, and I thought Forster had a decent game on Tuesday night, but no surprises. Vicario has to come back in. And I think actually he's got a bit of a crucial role to play, because I thought Forster really struggled with his ability to play out the back and with some of his passing into midfield and out wide. And Vicario, to be fair to him, especially again in the last game against Bournemouth, really excelled in that. And if we are going to beat Burnley's press and be effective in that, Vicario is going to have a big role to play. So obviously he comes back in, but I think it's going to be important.
Yeah, and he seems to be getting better and better the more he gets settled in this Spurs team as well. So I'm very much liking the look of Vicario. In terms of right back, toss up between Emerson and Porro. Emerson did take the cup game. Porro has been there for the last two league games, so we think Porro is going to come straight back in. Yeah,
and I've really liked Porro's last two performances. I think he's calmed down a lot in terms of he usually puts a lot of energy in his performances, but I think he's been a lot more defensively solid over the last two games, and that's been a real positive. I think his passing and general build-up is improving as well, and we all know the offensive ability he has. So I think Porro has the shirt at the moment. He comes back in.
On the right-hand side of the defence, a player that we desperately missed against Fulham is Cuti Romero.
Yeah, and he'll definitely come straight back in. And he was badly missed, I thought, especially when it came to building play up the back. I think we struggled without Romero's qualities in that aspect. And I think defensively, he's going to have to be very strong to make sure that when Burnley have possession, they're not advancing too close to our goal. So he has to come back in.
And to make up the back two, obviously on the left-hand side, will be Mickey van der Ven. Like I said, he was hobbling towards the end of that Fulham game, which worried me a bit, but no word of an injury, so van der Ven comes straight back in.
Yeah, probably the only shining light from the game against Fulham. I thought he was head and shoulders above all our other players on Tuesday night, and there was a bit of concern when he was kind of hobbling near the end. Thankfully, he's fit to play, and I can't wait to see him back on the pitch.
And to make up the back four on the left-hand side will be Destiny Udogie. Well rest during the week as he didn't play a minute, and he'll come straight back in as well.
Yeah, and I thought Ben Davies as well kind of struggled from the start in the game against Fulham, and that'll be a concern if Udogie picks up any sort of injury, if Davies has to be relied upon. But look, he's had a great start to the season. I think he's been one of our stars so far, really taken to the Premier League so well, and I can't wait again to see him back on that left-hand side.
Let's run through that back line with you guys one more time. In goal, Venom Vicario. On the right-hand side, Pedro Porro. On the left, Destiny Udogie. In the centre-back positions, Cuti Romero and Mickey van der Ven. In the six, we're going to see Yves Bissouma, and he was definitely missed on the midweek.
Massively. Without Bissouma, like I struggled to see a midfielder in that position who's able, without Bentancur there, who's able to really drive the ball forward with press resistance and create space for the other attacking players near the opposition goal. I think he's been phenomenal at doing that ever since he's the start of the season. We're going to need him badly in this game as well, so he has to come back in.
Alongside him, we're going to have a look at Pape Matar Sarr. He did come on in the latter stages of that Fulham game and looked fairly good. And obviously in the Premier League, he's looked really good so far with 1 goal and 1 assist already to his name after 3 games. I'm very much looking forward to seeing him play again.
Yeah, came off the bench as well against Fulham, and I actually thought he looked pretty good when he came on, gave us a bit more energy. Night and day compared to what Ollie Skip is offering at the moment. So no option, I guess, but to keep Pape Matar Sarr in the team, and I think he's playing really well at the moment.
To make up that middle three, we're going to see James Maddison at third spot, and he just gave us that extra bit of attacking flair when he came on against Fulham, and I expect from the start of the game he will just be the main man for us going forward, and everything good going forward will be going through him.
100%. And I think if we can do what we've been doing in the past Premier League games with Sarr and Bissouma driving the ball forward into the space and committing play and drawing attention, I think Maddison should get a lot of kind of space in this game and ability to create chances. And I think he's been wonderful at doing that with his vision so far in this Premier League season. And I think the way Burnley play, I think if Maddison could be kind of very cute, picking up those positions in between the lines and going unnoticed, I think he should get a lot of joy in this one.
So that's a midfield three of Bissouma, Sarr and Maddison. On the right-hand side now, Brennan Johnson hasn't signed in time to be able to play in this game, so that leaves it a straight shootout for Dejan Kulusevski.
Yeah, and I thought he's looked okay past few games. I think he's starting to look a bit better. Still needs to improve his effectiveness in the final third, but I'm liking the improvement in Dejan Kulusevski, and now he's going to have competition, so he really needs to up his game if he's going to keep his place.
Yeah, absolutely. He did get on the score sheet in the last league game against Bournemouth, so let's hope he can carry on that form. Up top, we are going to stick with Richarlison. Obviously got his first goal of the season in the Carabao Cup game against Fulham. Still, though, his performance wasn't really up to scratch, so hopefully he can improve that this weekend.
Yeah, and Postecoglou kind of said that, didn't he, after the game against Fulham? He commented about him scoring, and he said people focus on that because people focus on goals scored and stuff, but he gave the ball away too much, and I need more from Richarlison essentially. And before the game against Fulham, I was thinking that if he doesn't play well in this one, then Son might come in centrally and start the game with maybe Perisic or Solomon going in on the left hand side, and maybe if he hadn't scored, we might have seen Son come into the central area, because I think he's been looking good, Son, in that area, but he did score despite a poor performance, so I think that will just about earn him another start.
I want to persist with Richarlison a bit longer. I think I want to give him the 2 games, but if he does carry on these kind of performances going into the North London derby, we just can't afford any passengers going into that game. So I want to see him in this Burnley game and potentially the Sheffield United game as well. And if he can't find any sort of form, then I think that's when we potentially bring in Brennan Johnson on the right, maybe even Kulusevski on the left, or Manuel Solomon, or even Perisic, and then put Sonny through the middle. So that's what I would like to see. And then to make up that final 11, obviously on the left-hand side, will be our captain, Heung-min Son.
And what was interesting about Son actually against Bournemouth was I was looking actually at his average position, and he was a bit more central than he has been in some of the other games. So maybe that's like an instruction from Postecoglou that he doesn't have to be married to the touchline like he has been in the earlier games in the season. Maybe he can have license to go a bit more centrally, and if he does in that game, hopefully he can be a bit more dangerous, and he has looked a bit more dangerous in the past few games. So hopefully he can get off the mark in this game in terms of goals, and I expect him as well to be picking up the ball in a bit more central areas hopefully in this game as well. So we've backed Sonny to start on the left.
Yeah, I think the last couple of games from him in the league have been positive, especially when you compare it to the first game against Brentford. And I think his link-up play with Maddison is really starting to flourish as well. So hopefully this is an unchanged lineup. So hopefully we can go and grab those 3 points, carry on our undefeated start in the Premier League. Let's run through that lineup with you guys one more time. So in goal is Vicario, right back Pedro Porro, left back Destiny Udogie, Romero and then in the centre-backs positions, Bissouma, Maddison and Sarr in the midfield 3, with Son, Kulusevski and Richarlison now. So if they do pick this team, it'll be an unchanged team for the 3rd game in a row in the Premier League. And it's getting pretty easy to predict these lineups, isn't it?
And especially the performance on Tuesday night makes it easy to predict these lineups at the moment, because the other players haven't really stepped in when asked, unfortunately. But I really like this starting 11 at the moment. I like the dynamics each kind of between the midfield on the wide areas and in the striking positions as well. It's starting to settle down. Still a bit of work to do to perfect it, but I think Postecoglou has kind of, for the time being, got the right formula for what a starting 11 should look like under him. Obviously, we need to improve, our backups and stuff like that. But that starting 11 is good, and if we can keep that fit, especially with no cup competition now and no Europe, I think that should be a starting 11 we'll see very often.
Yeah, we just got to touch wood and hope no injuries or big injuries come about. I am worried about what's outside that current 11 at the moment, but as of now, all 11 are fit, so I'm expecting a big performance this weekend against Burnley. If this is the lineup, what is your score prediction?
Yeah, I said 3-0. I think the way Burnley play should suit us. I think they're going to come out and try and press us and play their game with their philosophy. And I feel like they've been a bit naive in the past, in the first couple games for them. And if they come and try and kind of press us and you know, try and put it on us, I think that we have the players on the pitch to come up with solutions for that. And I'm saying I think it's going to be a comfortable win for Spurs, apart from some hairy moments. I think with that first 11, I'm pretty confident. So I'm going to go 3-0.
Yeah, I'm fairly confident as well. Like you say, I completely agree. I think Burnley have been a bit too naive in their first games, albeit very hard games against Aston Villa and Manchester City, but I don't think it gets that much easier with Tottenham coming to town as well. So I think they will carry on trying to play their football and trying to play the way that Vincent Kompany has set them up in the Championship last season, and I think that will play into our hands a little bit. So I'm going for 2-0 to Spurs, and for a third 2-0 in a row for Spurs as well. So I want to know your predicted lineup. I want to know your score predictions in the comment section below. Thank you everyone for joining us. Like, subscribe and comment, and as always, come on you Spurs.